Ferris, you're sick. And don't go pushing it and making yourself worse.
Maybe you're right, Dad.
I know I'm right, pal.
How'd you get to be so sweet?
They bought it.
Well, why should he get to skip school when everybody else has to go?
I'm taking the day off. Now get dressed and come on over.
Ferris, my father loves his car more than life itself.
A man with priorities so far out of whack doesn't deserve such a fine automobile.
What are we gonna do?
The question isn't what are we going to do. The question is what aren't we going to do?
He does whatever he wants,
You know, as long as I've known him, everything works for him.
whenever he wants.
He's very cool.
And he never gets nailed.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. You realize if we played by the rules right now, we'd be in gym?
What's so dangerous about a character like Ferris Bueller is he gives good kids bad ideas.
Ferris Bueller, do you know? Yeah, he's getting me out of summer school.
They think he's a righteous dude.
Hi, I'm Abe Froman.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
That's me.
I can see him denying popular belief, setting off on some impossible mission.
I did not achieve this position in life by having some snot-nosed punk leave my cheese out in the wind.
You want to get married? Central Park in fall. I mean, if I wasn't a fool.
Sure.
Today,
When he looks back on the ruin his life's become, he is going to remember Edward Rooney.
hey, Dougie. It's dead, Cameron. You killed the car. My best friend has flipped out.
I got you, Ferris.
I think this calls for something bold.
I finally got you.
Something wet.
Oh, he's such a sweetie.
They all adore him.
Love you, pal.
Something wild.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. One man's struggle to take it easy.
Hello. I'm Katie, and welcome to Retromade, your pop culture rewind. Today, we're going to go back to 1986 to celebrate Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the ultimate teen fantasy of skipping school in style. So buckle up, because as Ferris says, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Joining me today are returning guests, Kevin and Eric from 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger podcast, breaking down all sorts of action movies, one scene at a time. So you guys, what are you working on? What's new with the 6 Degrees?
Hi, Katie. It's great to be back, first of all, and to talk about a movie that I really love from childhood. Yeah. For sure. And a change of pace from what we're sort of
usually
doing. What we usually are doing. Yeah,
exactly. There's far less murder in this movie than what we're used to.
We've been doing we were on a Van Damme kick recently on the podcast talking about Lionheart.
That. Love it.
Yeah, so those episodes are rolling out now. We hope to have you on in the very near future to talk another lost 80s gem of a little karate movie.
Yeah.
Not even a karate movie. I don't know what it is, but we'll mention it's going to be Showdown in Little Tokyo, a Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee movie. Very strange.
Fucking cannot wait, because I don't know if you guys are aware, I'm a huge Dolph Lundgren fan. So it'll be, and he looks mighty good in this movie. So
it was peak Dolph Lundgren. I was noticing, he still had the Rocky physique, but he had a little bit more bad boyishness about him, some stubble or whatever. Yeah. So this is going to be exciting. We might watch it after we're finished here.
Yeah. He's not trapped into the Iron Curtain anymore.
Yes. So we are looking forward to that. But yeah, we go through these really cheesy 80s and 90s movies with a fine tooth comb, because once you examine them, like even to the slightest degree, they just all fall apart.
This is
So
true.
that's half the fun,
that's
though.
fun. Yeah, we usually are enjoying some cocktails while we do it. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. So by the end of episode 5, we're all pretty sloppy. So
In
cheers.
your honor, I have wine. For today.
look at that.
A lot of times I record in the mornings, and while I'm not opposed to morning drinking, this feels more suitable. So yeah,
Happy hour
It
at
just
least.
depends. Like, is it a Bloody Mary? Is it a mimosa? You know, you can work these things. You can navigate it.
And then we're trying to do a little social media as well, which Eric is running. If you want to plug some of the,
Yeah, I mean, Instagram and Facebook. I've been kind of bad about it. Life's been a bit complicated recently, but we do post there. We do updates on Facebook, like trivia about each episode, when each one is coming out. We do most of our notifications there about episodes. And 6 Degrees of Searching, it's 6DOS, right?
at 6 the number DOS podcast. I think.
Right. Yes, that's right.
All
At
your
6DOS podcast. Yeah, and that's on Facebook and on Instagram. But those are our two main outlets that we use for social media.
But please, if you love 80s and 90s stuff, check us out. If you love Katie, check us out because she'll be on
Very soon.
yeah. I highly recommend. I love you guys' show. I listen to every episode. I'm enjoying the Lionheart coverage so far. I do have a bit of show news before we get into the time capsule. If you like revisiting works of specific directors, aka my season 2 is all about John Hughes, although he doesn't always direct them, but you get the idea, listeners. But some exciting news this season of John Hughes. We are joining the Director's Chair Network just this season because this is about a director. So you absolutely must check it out. Other shows on this network are the Ed Zwick podcast. There's a Brian De Palma podcast, Michael Mann, and now John Hughes. So just search and follow the Director's Chair Network on your app.
Eric and I think, are going to appear on some Michael Mann coverage
with Ryan.
Yes,
Awesome.
for sure. Yeah, love Michael Mann. So thrilled to do it.
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
Indeed. Okay, you guys, this season, if you're not aware, it's a little bit different. We're going to open the time capsule with a little bit of a different spin from June of 1986. Okay, can you guys see the wheel? Retromania.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to spin on your behalf because I'm not that technologically advanced to see which category we get from 1986. VHS Vault. All right, you guys.
Okay.
All right.
This could go very well or very badly.
Yeah. So this is, I will give you clues, but I usually give you an opportunity to guess before I start giving you hints. The top 5 VHS rentals for the year 1986. What were people going to Blockbuster for?
Okay. He used to work at a Blockbuster.
But this is 90.
Yeah, that's true. But I thought you should have some insight.
Well,
about
I'm definitely going to put Back to the Future on there.
So I think the 86 movies wouldn't have been on tape yet. We're
No,
talking
no,
about
no.
80, probably 85. And
Yeah.
Back to the
87
Future's
or
great.
Yeah.
I will say the Terminator.
Yeah. I'm going to go
Might
with
still
that
be
one.
hanging around.
Well, Back to the Future is correct. That's the number 2.
That was the number 2.
two.
What would be bigger than Back to the Future in 86?
Yeah.
It's not Terminator. Terminator's not in the top
Terminator.
5.
That's a bummer.
Okay, that is a bummer.
And then you guys let me know whenever you're ready for some clues if you give up.
I'll take another 5 seconds. to
Yeah,
see if anything- hold on, I'm looking at my wall. How about the Karate Kid? It's hanging out on my wall back here.
No, but there is, I believe, something is related to something on your wall.
Oh, yeah, Return of the Jedi, of course.
No,
Or
no.
Empire Strikes Back, or New Hope.
Temple of Doom?
Temple of Doom. Indiana Jones and the
Oh,
Temple of
okay.
Doom. Okay, so that was actually...
What about Gremlins? I'll go Gremlins.
No, but that's a great
Goonies.
guess. So Goonies, yes. So you guys have the top 3 so far. Temple of Doom is 1.
right.
Back
I am
to the
ready for
Future is
clues.
2.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got the top 3. Number 4, in this 1985 film, a socially awkward teenager, a computer, and a bolt of lightning combine to create the perfect woman.
Oh, Weird Science?
Weird Science.
I had no idea. John Hughes on the
Hughes,
charts.
right on.
All right.
I adore Weird Science, and I cannot wait to cover it on this season. All right, the number 5 VHS rental. Which 1985 action sequel saw a lone warrior returning to the wasteland, only to find himself caught?
The Road Warrior?
Thunderdome?
Thunderdome. Mad Max
Thunderdome.
Beyond Thunderdome.
Okay.
Mhm.
I thought it was going to be Rocky 4 when he said Lone Warrior, one of the various Rambos.
Weirdly, Beyond Thunderdome was the least popular of the first 3 films.
I didn't love it, but Road Warrior's my top
classic.
4 or 5 action movies ever. Yeah.
All right, let's spin again, guys. See what other categories
we
can.
didn't do too bad. We got 3 with minimal clues.
With no clues, and then with clues, you got them all right away. Okay. We have the category, can Kevin and Eric come out to play?
Okay.
So this is obviously like toys, electronics, games, and stuff like that, right?
All right.
Okay.
Released in 1986, this handheld electronic game became a sensation, with players trying to match colored bubbles and lines. What was the name of this game?
Electronic game, colored bubbles and lines.
I only vaguely recall this.
Yeah, I don't
remember. I don't know. What do you got?
Simon? Electronic memory game?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I remember the commercials for it.
I mean, Simon, what version of Simon had like
handheld? Was that like the slap in the
that was the memorization one, right? That was with the 4 red, yellow, green, and blue buttons.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think
colors.
There was a handheld version of it.
Oh, okay.
At any rate, we'll spin a new one. Commercial countdown.
Okay.
So
where's the beef? That's all.
Actually, that is one of them. Where's the beef? The Wendy's campaign.
What was that even a commercial for? Was that
Wendy's?
Was it Wendy's or Burger King?
Wendy's.
Okay.
Catchy jingle.
Making fun of Burger King, I think.
Do you remember this? This commercial featured a talking baby who pushed a diaper product using the slogan, I'm a big kid now.
Oh, pull-ups.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Pull-ups.
Pampers or Huggies? I don't know.
I don't remember.
Pull-ups.
One more category.
All right.
Retro runway is the category.
Okay.
Oh, there's so many. Okay. This bulky, often oversized jacket with an elastic waistband and zippered pockets was a must-have for both athletes and fashion-forward teens. What was the name of this iconic garment?
So it's gonna not members only.
It is members only.
It is a member only jacket.
Members only. Okay. I didn't think about it with athletes.
Yeah, exactly. Members only was where I went to first, but it was like athletes.
Right on, though.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well done.
Those are coming back, I think.
Yeah, they are. I've been seeing them around.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Well, everything from, things, it's like a 30-year cycle usually, right?
Yeah.
30. Speaking of which,
I say it's like everyone's wanting their kid to be into the toys they play with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was in San Francisco last week, and everybody had those long khaki trench coats.
Okay.
Like, I guess it's back in San Francisco.
Ferris Bueller wore a long khaki trench coat.
Those have kind of always been. That seems like a classic look, right?
Oh, okay. Maybe it's
Like
just the circles I walk in then.
Burberry, like the Burberry one, very high.
Sure. Yeah, Burberry for sure. Yeah.
Okay, all of these, a lot of this is very much like coming back. A hair accessory often associated with big volume. These stretchy bands were a way to keep your ponytail high and your style on point. What were they called?
Scrunchies?
Mm-hmm. Scrunchies.
Yeah.
Okay.
We both had sisters, so we're a little bit blank.
Yeah.
Oh, that's helpful. That's helpful.
Jelly shoes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Actually, that's one of them. Footwear trend, jellies. This one also made a comeback, and I hate it. Did then, do now. High-waisted pants come in all forms, from denim to pleats, and had a serious leg lengthening effect. What were they called?
Jean-Claude Van Damme was a big fan.
Yeah.
I always just call them mom jeans, but I mean,
That's literally what it is.
Mom jeans? Really?
Mom jeans. Mom jeans.
I nailed it.
Nice.
I love that the categories we're doing the best in right now is 86 fashion.
86, yes.
Indeed. Okay, yeah, that's hilarious. I remember an SNL skit about mom jeans.
With Amy Poehler and
Yeah.
classic. Yeah, and Tina Fey. Yeah.
And with your choice of ankle length, capri length, or shorts, you'll find the perfect jean for even the least active of moms. So this Mother's Day, don't give mom that bottle of perfume. Give her something that says, I'm not a woman anymore. I'm a mom.
Okay, we maybe have time for one more. Boombox bangers. This will be a fun way to end the segment. Let's see here. Now, these are the top 5 billboards for the whole year.
Music?
For the whole year.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, an 86.
Any guesses? I don't know, man. I don't think I would pull these out of the air.
That's going to be tough. Like, we're talking about singles or albums?
The song.
Okay.
The song. Oh. Is Michael Jackson on the list?
No.
Oh.
It's Lionel Richie.
Okay.
It's Lionel Richie.
Endless Love? Is that
What was that?
It's from the movie White Nights, which won an Academy Award for Best Original Song.
Wow. Okay.
Lionel Richie.
I don't know.
You got me.
I've never been a Lionel Richie fan, so Say You, Say Me.
I've heard of it. I couldn't tell you how it sounds.
I couldn't sing it.
This next one, there's several from movies.
Okay.
Tell me the movie and we might be Power of Love?
The movie is Top Gun.
Oh, so Danger Zone.
No, Take My Breath Away.
Take My Breath Away. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And who's it by? Do you know?
Berlin.
Yeah. Okay.
Name Giorgio Moroder.
80s music is not my wheelhouse because I don't like 80s music.
I think that one probably won an Oscar too.
Yeah. That's what she was saying. A lot of movie music. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the number 3 song for the year. Is a British duo, and it's their debut single.
Wham? Is it the group is Wham?
No. But the lyrics featured them like navigating the streets of London, and it was the title song that made them famous.
Pet Shop Boys?
What's the name of the song? Shit, who sings it?
Is it New Order or Pet Shop Boys?
I'm gonna look.
Okay. Or not Duran Duran? Hungry Like the Wolf?
It's Pet Shop Boys. It's Pet Shop Boys. I had to double check.
I don't. Oh, West End Girls.
West End Girls. Yep.
Yeah. Great song.
Again, don't know any of that music because I don't like 80s music.
What did your parents make you listen to?
They liked some 80s music, but they didn't. Like, it was more still, my father was still listening to 70s and 60s.
Oldies,
music.
yeah. I grew up on oldies and then the little B98.5.
Yeah. And I never liked all the heavy synth and soft lyrics of 80s music. It just kind of put me to sleep more than anything else.
There were a lot of different genres, though, I feel like, in the 80s, but like you didn't like any hair bands either?
Yeah. I mean, there are some isolated gems here and there, and particularly as you get to the late 80s and we start coming out of the synth pop phase. But I mean, I never really got into Duran Duran or Cars or Yes or any of the major pop groups, and it was kind of a dead decade for rock, quite frankly.
Your loss, man.
Yeah, no, not my loss. I'm happy.
On the yacht rock?
No, I'm not into yacht rock, man.
Number 4 is very catchy. If you don't know this song, Eric, I'd be shocked.
Okay.
It's inspired by the 60s pop culture, featuring unique hand gestures recorded by an all-female American band. It was one of the...
I know, is it very politically incorrect now?
Probably.
Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles?
That's what I'm thinking, Walk Like an Egyptian.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that song sort of, it's been canceled a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think it's appropriate anymore by our standards, I guess.
It is Walk Like an Egyptian. And then...
Okay, that one I knew. You can't go... I mean, you can't not know that song.
If you were alive, you heard that song.
But I mean, in all fairness, I hadn't heard the song Africa by Toto until the year 2004.
It's so good. I like that one.
It's a shame. Big yacht rockers, Toto.
Yeah, I know.
I'd also be shocked if you didn't know the number 5 song. Known for its minimalistic funk vibe, seductive lyrics. It is a Prince song. It was also in a very famous movie.
Purple Rain?
It was from the Parade album. That doesn't tell me anything. But minimalistic funk vibe.
Right.
Kiss? No.
Yep.
Kiss.
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 It was just called Kiss?
It was just called
All
Kiss,
right,
and it was
okay.
famous.
There
It
we go.
was in Pretty
All right.
Woman. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that tracks. I mean, I feel like most of the 80s canon was written and then used in 80s movies.
Or it was either written for a movie or it was so good that it got into a movie.
Yeah, there was the era for that.
All right, you guys did pretty good.
I'm proud.
Yeah, okay, do it. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Given that I was 5 and you were 4,
I was 4 if it was
86?
in the summer. I turned 5 later in the year.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, I'm an 81 baby, but I had older siblings. So
That was the oldest.
Oldest for me as well.
Mhm. All right, how did you guys discover John Hughes films? Are you fans? I should ask maybe first of all.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I'm sure I discovered it on cable television. I wasn't going to see these types of movies in the theater. That was like a little too young. Ferris Bueller, I love, and Breakfast Club, I love. We were talking a little bit before we started, like from his teen movies.
Mm-hmm.
But then I discovered later that he wrote all these like also more adult movies, like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked Home Alone. That was like people call that like his sellout movie or whatever.
I saw that many times in theaters as a kid.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, amazing. So yeah, I'm a fan. A lot of which I didn't know was even him until I started learning more about movies than realizing that this one guy was responsible for all these 80s classics.
Yeah. Obviously, the stuff that he's written, I'm a big fan of a lot of that. But in terms of what he's known for, I was never really into most of those teeny bopper movies. I never liked The Breakfast Club. I never liked Pretty in Pink or any of those. It never really jived with me. No, I didn't get it. I didn't understand
Weird
why
Science?
anybody would like them. I did love Weird Science.
There you go.
And I loved Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But
Mhm.
that was
Okay.
about all of his sort of teen era movies that I enjoyed, were only those two.
Those were not the big like the teen angst movies.
Right.
Those were like
That's-
the
yeah.
okay.
The more
even
fun.
when I was 6 years old, I hated teen angst, and that hasn't changed.
yeah. This guy, he won't get into Cobra Kai no matter how much we try to get him to
Yeah.
check it out.
I kind of refuse to. I have no interest in Cobra Kai. So I'm Teen Eric on this one.
Excellent. Finally, someone's on my side. As far as John Hughes, though, in general, as a filmmaker, I don't really have any memories of life where I didn't know who he was. Right. I mean, I was coming up in an era that he kind of owned an entire genre of cinema, and it was hard not to know about his movies. And so we were talking about Ferris Bueller a little bit beforehand, and I don't have any memories of my life where I didn't know about Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Right. I mean, I watched that movie so many times. I rewatched it just to refresh myself, and I didn't need to, because when I rewatched it, I was like, I remember every single frame of this movie.
I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
And I feel like it sort of spawned like Saved by the Bell, which is another childhood favorite of mine. It was like, could not have existed if it weren't for Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
It's like so much of just like, let's take this premise of this kid who talks to the camera and can get away with anything and build a whole show around that.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a Ferris Bueller TV show as well,
Yeah.
but I didn't watch that.
There was
I
very
didn't
briefly the one that was more successful of that, which was directly inspired by Ferris Bueller, was Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Right.
And that actually lasted 1 or 2 seasons, where I think the Ferris Bueller show disappeared very quickly.
A lot of these movies got a TV show, like Weird Science had one, Mr. Mom had one, like none of them, even Dirty Dancing. Like they just
I
didn't-
did not know.
did not translate.
If they didn't get a TV show, they would turn it into a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Yep.
Like the Ghostbusters,
Ghostbusters is
cartoon,
a classic.
Back to the Future, the cartoon.
I did not know that was a cartoon.
They tried it.
Wow. Yeah, Weird Science, the TV show, I watched all the time.
Oh yeah, that was like on late night on
Mhm.
USA
I've never
Network. I would
seen
do that.
it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's about what you would expect. Just constant antics, hot chick causing trouble, as they love to do.
As they love to do. Oh, hilarious. Oh my God. Well, without further ado, let's get into Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
All right.
It was released June 11th, 1986. It's PG-13, 7.8 IMDb, which is the same as another John Hughes movie. Any guesses? And it's a teen one.
The Breakfast Club?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
It was? All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Are those his
are both
highest
up
ranked
there.
movies?
I believe so. I'll have to double check what Home Alone is, but 7.8 is really high
That's
for
strong,
this, for this kind of a movie, you know, for a movie like this.
Yeah.
John Hughes did write and direct this one. And I would be shocked if anybody needed a reminder, but in case it's been a while since anybody listening or watching hasn't seen Ferris Bueller in a while, we have Ferris Bueller, and he's the master of skipping school, and his most elaborate scheme yet takes him, his best friend Cameron, and girlfriend Sloane on a whirlwind day through Chicago. From singing in a parade to outrunning his vengeful principal, Ferris turns playing hooky into an art form, reminding us all to embrace life before it passes us by. I love how these always portray adults as being like so sad, like sad sack adults have no life.
Well, it's always the aspirational teen life, which I think as kids of the 80s, like we could all watch that. Like, when I'm in high school, it's going to be so great. We're going to make the principal look stupid and all that type of stuff.
And I do love it. Maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I love that the principal is actually a threat to them. Like they're actually terrified of the principal. Then you watch it as an adult and you're like, that's hilarious that they were actually threatened by this individual.
Principals are another bad, like again, adults, but specifically, I guess adults in authority position in a lot of these movies are just set up to be so bad. And I didn't necessarily relate to Ed Rooney in this, but a lot of times when I rewatch these movies as an adult, I relate more to the adults, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
little shithead.
I was telling him before, I'm like, if I was Principal Rooney, I wouldn't like Ferris Bueller either.
Right.
Guy's a little jerk.
That's right. Get away with everything.
I watched E.T. recently and I found myself like identifying with the mom. It's like these kids are putting this lady through hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's true. We have obviously Matthew Broderick, and John Hughes had said he had Matthew in mind when he wrote this, thinking that he was the only one who had this particular clever, charming nature to him. And he really does. Because I've kind of gone back and forth throughout the years thinking Ferris is a dick. And then rewatching it last night, I was like, he's just a regular teenager. He is the one in the best friend relationship that has the power. Of course, he has the beautiful girlfriend. He gets away with everything, but he's not mean spirited. I don't think. I don't know. Do you guys disagree?
We were talking. He has like a little bit of like sociopath tendencies. Or he uses people to.
He's manipulative.
To get his own means. Yeah, he takes advantage of his buddy Cameron for sure. We'll get to it probably as we talk through, but we're not sure how healthy the relationship with Sloane is, because he says something at some point later in the movie. It's going to be tough next year because I'm going off to college. How am I supposed to deal with that? And it's like, I don't know. It sounds like she's just sort of like going to be scoring with chicks.
Yeah.
And he didn't want Sloane slowing him down or something strange. I don't know.
Yeah. I watched it yesterday again, just one last time before the show. And I really dug the first about half of the movie. But when he really goes down the rabbit hole in Chicago, I sort of lose him a little bit, particularly to the point where he abandons his friends, doesn't tell them where he's going, and then shows up in the middle of a parade. And I mean, like,
but I think he's meant to be very likable.
Right.
I don't think John Hughes meant any of
of course
we're reading into it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He's just the ultimate cool kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Would want to. You'd want to be Ferris Bueller. You wouldn't necessarily want to be one of the other people in his orbit.
Yeah.
I mean, I see your point. I guess I don't have a problem with that because it's like a fun surprise. He's giving them, and by the end of it, Cameron does say it was the best day of his life.
That is true. That is true.
I feel like people even benefit from that's, I think we get a few of those in the end. Is like, he is making people's lives better.
Yeah.
By him being a presence in their life. So,
well, I went back and forth with specifically when he takes the Ferrari and he's like, we have no choice, Cameron. We have to. And Cameron's like, pretty sure there is another choice. And then later he's like, I could have put my foot down. And Ferris is like, no. So he does take advantage. That was a dick move.
Oh, yeah.
But then
for sure,
he's like, listen, Cameron, he's got a shit home life. He's so tightly wound. If I don't force him to have fun, he wouldn't have fun. And I don't know. I guess all my back and forth I've landed on Ferris is okay. He's just a regular, popular teenager. But I don't know. Where do you guys think Ferris is now?
Ultimately, when I finished watching the movie, I tried to put myself back in '86, and I do not think that John Hughes was trying to make a meta commentary on the nature of narcissistic personality disorder. So I'm almost certain that he was just he was a cool kid that everybody wanted to be. And it's literally that simple. He's not
like
a bad guy.
Marty McFly,
Right.
like any number of other cool 80s kids.
Yeah. And it is the instinct to sort of apply your current sense of society and morality onto something that is at this point 30 years old, just about.
Oh my God.
No, 40 years old. Yeah. 40 years old.
Oh no.
We were talking before about Back to the Future suffers a similar thing where the director and producer have said years later that the one thing they wish they didn't do is make the happy ending also involve like monetary, like material gain. Like, everything's good now because his parents are rich and successful and he's got a new car.
Right.
And I feel like, but that was the era that these movies were made in. So they're sort of just a product of what the 80s vibe was, I think.
Right.
So 80s. Yeah. Very much. And these John Hughes movies, I'm always comforted. First of all, I love the city of Chicago. It's my favorite American city.
Oh yeah. It's a beautiful city.
Like any John Hughes, most of them are set in a Chicago suburb, Shermer, as this is Shermer, Illinois. But it's always these like very wealthy suburbs as the opening shot, the house and the car. I was like, everybody's got a pool. It just looks great. I want to live there.
I assume that's the world in which John Hughes grew up in, but I don't really know that to be true or not.
I mean, it could be the world that he fantasized being a part of when he was a kid.
True.
But I don't know anything about it.
Did you go down the weird Charlie Sheen character wormhole? Or you, Katie, about how Charlie Sheen's character and Ferris Bueller's character are supposed to have been friends when they were much younger?
Yes, actually.
Okay. He had a shitty home life and Ferris didn't save him from it, so he's trying to save Cameron.
So Charlie Sheen plays this. So Ferris has a sister named Jeannie, and she's played by Jennifer Grey, and she meets this like bad boy in there for drugs. Charlie Sheen apparently he has a name. I didn't know he has a name, but his name is Garth Volbeck, and he's the.
You were supposed to have been the tow truck drivers and that hauled Rooney's car, or the son of the tow truck driver, or something.
The tow truck is Volbox tow trucking. So there was a documentary, I guess, where he was going to have a whole backstory. The Volbacks are the family to whom Ferris's mom was showing the house in her job as a realtor. And if you look closely, the tow truck that tows Rooney's car is Volbeck's wrecking service. Deleted backstory that Ferris and Garth were friends in the 8th grade, and Garth's family was pretty messed up. Ferris tried to help him and be his friend, but Garth eventually dropped out of high school, wound up at the police station next to Jeannie, and that's why Ferris is so intent on giving Cameron a good time. He blames himself for not helping Garth enough. When
I read the same thing. Yeah.
That it recontextualizes Ferris Bueller completely if they had managed to get that in there, because it's far less nakedly manipulative and it is more coming from a place of goodwill, good intentions.
It's like that movie would have been 3 hours long.
Yeah, it would have been 3 hours long.
There was actually, I think, like a 3-hour version, like a cut of
no.
Yeah.
I need it.
So Charlie was recommended by Jennifer Grey. What movie were they in together? You guys remember?
Dirty Dancing?
No, this Red Dawn.
Oh, Red Dawn. Oh my God.
Dawn.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I did this one. I forgot Charlie Sheen was in that until you said Red Dawn.
I have such a Jennifer Grey crush too, as you, Katie, probably know from listening to our Red Dawn coverage.
That's right.
She looked really beautiful in this. Like her skin was
cute,
flawless. I was like, wow. I thought her and Mia Sarah both looked really pretty.
I also just have like a problem, like a bad habit of liking girls with like attitude. She's definitely got a big attitude.
Yeah, that she does.
Yeah.
Well, so they play siblings in this, but did you know that they would become engaged after this?
Yeah.
Matthew Broderick.
We talked about it a little bit because we were like, where did she go? And she was like badly injured in a car crash with him driving that like killed people.
Yeah.
Like
they were in
I think they were in the UK somewhere driving they think he was driving on the American side of the road or something and like head on collision with this other car and it sort of derailed her career.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, that's crazy though that they were like an item.
Yeah, fatal auto crash in Northern Ireland. It was a mother and a daughter who died. That's really sad.
That's rough.
I don't really remember hearing about that though when I was a kid.
No,
but I think she had like PTSD and like feelings of guilt, and she didn't work for like years after.
Well, she did go away, and then she got a nose job, which she shouldn't have, because then she looked completely different.
Cute, and now she's like kind of unrecognizable.
She just looks like everybody else kind of now. Yeah. Did you guys, how old do you think? So Alan Ruck, who this made his career, he plays Cameron, and you all know who he is, but he was most recently in Succession, right?
Awesome in Succession. He was in Speed from our Schwarzenegger verse.
Wasn't
like
he
world action movie world?
Wasn't he in Spin City too? Wasn't
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And Charlie Sheen was in that, wasn't he?
Charlie Sheen, after Michael J. Fox had to bow out because of his Parkinson's, Charlie Sheen took over.
Okay. Do you guys know how old Alan Ruck was playing a high school student?
I'm going to guess 25 or 26.
I know because I read it earlier today, so that doesn't really count. He was 29.
29. Wow.
He looks, I buy him as a high school kid. He looks so beautiful. I can't believe he was 20. That is a young looking 29. Mia Sarah looked.
And he and Broderick were like buddies. They had been on Broadway or something, or off Broadway doing plays together.
Yep. I didn't look up how old Mia Sarah was, but I thought she looked older than Cameron. Who Mia Sarah plays Sloane.
I know this. I read this. I think she was only 18 or 19.
Wow.
That's
so
wild.
She was like age appropriate, kind of.
She didn't really do a whole lot, but she plays Ferris's girlfriend, and she's most known for this movie and Legend, which I never saw.
Legend.
And Time Cop.
Time Cop.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme. We did it recently.
Yeah.
He's got a big Mia Sarah thing.
Always had a big Mia Sarah crush.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. I can see why you do. Now, do you know who she married? They're not currently married, but she married Sean Connery's son, Jason.
Oh, really? Okay.
They got divorced in like the early 2000s, I think, but
the next best thing to being married to Sean Connery.
Yeah, right. It might actually be better.
Didn't he have some weird? He said some things at some point about how you got to smack women around every now and then. It's like very antiquated talk.
Oh God, that doesn't surprise me actually.
No. Product of his age.
Yeah. And then, yet another scandal. Jeffrey Jones here.
Oh.
Plays apparently he's listed as the dean of students and not the principal.
Yes, that's what they call him in the movie.
Such
too.
a strange title. He's just definitely the principal.
Yeah, I did see how they handled his character's death in the Beetlejuice sequel.
Yeah.
He was like just eaten by a shark.
Off screen.
That's right.
That was it.
Right. I kind of forgot about that.
What a career he had. Like what a resume he had.
I know.
Beetlejuice is awesome, and I remember him as like. I watched Howard the Duck probably 100 times.
That's right. He's in that. I always wanted to rent that at the video store, and my mom's like, "Oh my God, can we please get something else?"
It's so bad.
When I was a kid, all of my memories would blur together, and he turns into that grotesque monster over the course of Howard the Duck. I would always remember that grotesque monster as Rooney in Ferris Bueller. And so I would have nightmares about the monster from Howard the Duck in a Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And then I'd watch Ferris Bueller again. I'm like, wait, that's not the right movie.
That's your fan fiction?
Yeah, I guess that's my fan fiction. Yeah. Unintentional fan fiction. But I didn't look it up. He's still in jail, right? Like
I think he got pleaded down to something very tiny.
Yeah, I don't think he even went to jail. Did he?
Okay. His career was justifiably
soliciting a minor or something strange like that.
Something
gross.
Yeah, something super gross. Yeah. Okay. Did you guys recognize the parents at all?
I did. I couldn't tell you where they're from, but I recognized both of them from a million things. They're both working character actors. I didn't look them up. I should have.
I recognized them from this movie only, I think.
I didn't even realize they had names until doing the research. It's Katie and Tom Bueller.
Okay.
And Cindy Pickett plays Katie, and she was also the mom and son-in-law.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, that is right.
The Pauly Shore movie.
Pauly Shore guy?
Yeah, I love Pauly Shore.
I didn't really watch this.
Yeah.
And Lyman Ward, what a name. That's like a very rich guy name. He played the dad. And he had a lot of one-off TV appearances. And he has a couple of uncredited roles in other John Hughes movies. And John Hughes is famous for doing this. So he was also in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and She's Having a Baby. And these two got married in real life.
Yes, I did read that. That's awesome. I love that.
Funny.
I mean, they did get divorced in 1992.
I mean, it's Hollywood. That's kind of the rules.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just think that's awesome. And I think maybe one of my favorite characters is Grace, the assistant to Rooney.
Oh, yeah. Grace is amazing. Yeah.
She was very memorable in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
She is another one of those. The actress is Edie McClurg, and she's always in a John Hughes movie in a small part. We just covered Mr. Mom, and she was a cashier at the grocery store. She's in.
I didn't know Mr. Mom was John Hughes.
Yeah, nor did I.
Yeah.
Okay, I love Michael Keaton.
Yeah, me too. And Mr. Mom is a great movie.
Oh, it was so
that
fun.
Edie is like an improv goddess, though. I feel like that stuff she's doing has to just be off script.
She was amazing. I loved when we are introduced to her. She's like pulling pencils out of her hair and sniffing the white out.
Yeah. When she goes on her little rant about all the various cliques or whatever, the dweebs and then like one of the cliques is the dickhead. The dickhead love Ferris Bueller. So great.
I love it.
I thought that scene in particular was a great way of masking some exposition because he's talking on the phone. Rooney's talking on the phone to Ferris's mother, explaining basically the information we already know because Ferris monologued to us earlier, right? But the way that they cover this info dump is by having this just fun nonverbal scene of Grace pulling, pencils out of her hair and doing all this
ditzy.
It makes like this fun visual scene. And then you don't get bogged down on all the exposition that's actually going on in the background. I thought that was super clever. And he did that a couple of times over the course of the movie where something completely unrelated to the dialogue being spoken was happening in the foreground and it would made what would have otherwise been a pretty boring scene into something interesting to watch.
It is a lot. You get that a lot with the valet guys, the parking lot, action happening in the background or whatever.
I loved those guys.
Very clever.
Yeah.
Do you speak English? There's one final cast member, Ben Stein, the economics teacher.
Bueller.
He took like one scene and made a career out of it.
I know.
He's a real economics. Like he has a degree in economics, I guess.
Yeah. Smart guy.
He wrote scripts for Nixon, I think. He was a script
writer. And we all know from the whatever Comedy Central, the Win Ben Stein's Money show.
Yeah.
The trivia show where he's like a smart guy.
Which is what got Jimmy Kimmel his start.
Oh yeah, he hosted that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember him he had Visine commercials back in the day too.
Yeah, he did have those as well. I remember those. Yeah.
Bueller, that is iconic.
The thing, this was blew my mind because when I used to watch this, I would never pay attention to the scene where he's giving a lecture and all the students are falling asleep. Mm-hmm. But this time I was watching it, and it's all about how tariffs don't work. Like the whole
time. I noted that because of the time and place that we're in right now. He was talking about the Great Depression and how Republicans thought it'd be a great idea. And he's a Republican, Ben Stein,
Right.
And he's like, did it raise or lower? Or did it work? And everybody's sleeping.
No. It was the opposite of what they
right. And the American United States sank deeper into the Depression. And I never, because you're not supposed to pay attention to it.
Exactly.
Right? No, it's supposed to be just so boring.
It's so boring. And then this time I was actually listening to it going, oh, that's interesting.
Huh? Wild. I don't know if I buy this, but I read that because he does have an actual economics degree and can talk about, there was it had a name, such and such tariff bill. And
the Snoot tariff bill. I don't remember the first part of it. Yeah.
And he even brought up voodoo, one of the Bushes.
Voodoo economics.
We talk about that old trickle down.
The trickle down. I know.
But I guess everything except for the roll call was ad-libbed by Stein.
Oh,
that makes sense.
He just speak it off the cuff.
Yeah,
I mean, I was watching you going, there's no way John Hughes knows anything about any of this.
He was probably just give a economics lecture about something boring.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I felt like, do you think he went out of his way to not put any of the Brat Pack crew in this movie?
No, I think
it feels different from other John Hughes movies because none of those familiar faces are in it.
It does. I did read a few of them were offered or auditioned or were considered for roles. So, for example, Molly Ringwald for Sloane, Anthony Michael Hall for Cameron.
Those would have been weird.
Rob Lowe for Ferris. Like, those were some of the Brat Packers.
I can see that.
He's pretty enough.
I found myself thinking Charlie Sheen could have probably played Ferris Bueller pretty well.
I thought his role was perfect. I thought
he nailed what he did, but I just also thought like he has that sort of like swagger that Ferris Bueller has.
I think I don't think he's got an edge in my opinion that Broderick doesn't have. Broderick came across as a little bit more innocent, which for me is the reason why it works. It can work.
That's true. Because he seems very kind-hearted. And Charlie Sheen maybe not so much.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Sheen did like Platoon later this year, and that like really exploded his career.
I did read something about, I just thought it was kind of ironic because Charlie Sheen's supposed to be playing like he's in jail for drugs or something. And he looked it. Like he looked like his eyes
the makeup was
I guess he stayed up for 48 hours to look really
I saw that thing. Like that's pretty that's like a lot of commitment for such a little tiny thing.
Although like I'm sure, okay, I buy that he stayed up for 48 hours.
He was probably just partying and doing
coke exactly. I'm like doing coke the whole time, I'm sure.
For the part.
Right.
Yeah. I have to.
Although I still laugh at their initial exchange where he just looks at Jeannie and goes, drugs? Yeah. And she goes, no, I don't want any. He's like, no, are you in for drugs? And she goes, no. I mean, what are you in for? He's like, drugs.
He is so funny.
Yeah.
He's such a funny guy.
Yeah. She kind of killed her part too. There were a few times that like she just delivered a line in such a way that I was like,
I had a massive crush on Jeannie Bueller.
It's too bad that she didn't have a bigger career, you know? Do you guys think so? Matthew Broderick was nominated for a Golden Globe. Do you guys think that's warranted?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I thought he was great in this movie.
Me too.
I think it's well deserved, I would say. Yeah, it was. I don't know if he's been nominated for other things in his career, but this is the thing for him.
Yeah,
I feel like the thing with like Michael J. Fox, like whatever else he did, like Back to the Future will always be the thing.
Agreed. I
don't know. Was he a big star at this time? Like,
well, he did. Like,
was he known before this?
What else did he do? I think
I loved War Games is my favorite Matthew Broderick movie.
That's a great movie.
Which was before this. With Ali Sheedy, Brat Pack.
Yeah.
And he had a computer in that too, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a computer whiz.
Yeah.
It's odd though. Movies like this don't usually get nominated. I'm kind of surprised. You know, like I
agree. Usually comedy is shunned for whatever reason.
It wasn't like a tour de force performance.
It was, yeah.
And I don't think there was that many movies where you got like a character that got to talk directly to the camera. The way he did, like talk to the audience.
Yeah.
Very unique.
I was like thinking about that, and now it's done a little bit more maybe, but back then I feel like Annie Hall maybe had that, and I can't think of much else that would have been before this that had a character addressing the audience.
It was a pretty rare phenomenon, and it still is too. I mean,
like Deadpool does it, and like something now, it's done a little bit more now than it was, but I feel like it was pretty like ballsy to do it.
And they even had writing on the screen. Like more so at the beginning.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
It was like so sort of breaking that wall between the audience and the
explaining the perfect way to fake being sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. That was one of the memorable standout scenes of the movie for me. It's like that first scene where the parents leave and he turns to the camera and he's like, they bought it. And then he does the whole monologue about how to fake sickness.
I mean, I thought it was
love it.
I thought it was a brilliantly directed moment, right? Because there's no explanation that this is about to happen up to this point. It's playing out like a pretty common teen comedy. But then when he turns to the camera and directly speaks to you in that moment, you know that this is going to be a different movie.
Like, it was blowing minds in 86.
Yeah.
The elaborate nature of, I mean, obviously we're going to talk about how massively unrealistic everything in this movie is. Like,
of course,
if anybody called at the wrong time or came home at the wrong, like the way the elaborate nature of his computer setup and the answering machines and call waiting.
I know. Answering machines, the little doorbell.
86, man. I mean, and if you called one number, it would go to Cameron's answer machine, and that was the funeral home. Like they had everything perfectly planned out. But if anything ever were to go wrong with it,
Total
It's
House of
fun.
Cards.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Also, he seemed to know that Cameron was also going to be homesick.
Which may be the reason. So this is steelman this a little bit. I suspect that Cameron had been out for a couple of days, so he was pretty confident that he was home, and so he orchestrated this day to be homesick because he knew Cameron would be homesick.
And Cameron's some sort of
works.
hypochondriac.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
a straight up hypochondriac. Yeah.
Mhm.
I have the DVD with a commentary, which I listened to
Ooh.
prepping for this. And John Hughes said he had a friend when he was a kid who was the Cameron's based on, who was like sick all the time and had a bad home life. And he pretended to be sick. That was like the only way he could get his parents' attention. It's sort of depressing. But,
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but
that's
made
what
for
he
a
sort
good
of based
character.
it on. Yeah. And a realistic, or like a real feeling character.
Yeah.
Good point. And it was like also a friend of his or somebody he knew that had a name. The name Bueller came from that.
Oh,
John Hughes' lifelong friend named Bert Bueller.
Bert Bueller.
Bert
And-
Bueller.
That sounds like something out of like
Ferris.
Mad Men or whatever.
And Ferris, I always thought, well, first of all the names in this movie are very unique, especially for 1986. Sloane, I always thought that was like
Yeah.
so cool. And
Yeah.
Cameron, while that is ordinary now, it wasn't that. And Ferris,
For sure.
Right.
did you guys read where Ferris came from?
Oh.
No, but it always reminds me of Fenris, which is a word for fox. And so he's like
Oh.
sly like a fox. That's what I
Okay.
haven't done any research on it, but that's always just the road that led me down.
I kind of like that better. What I read
I
was
think
that
Fenris, it's a Norse word, right? I think
I
that
don't know.
anyway.
that would track.
I could be
That
wrong.
would track.
What-
It is actually, if we think about John Hughes and his love for Chicago, this tracks. So the Ferris wheel debuted in the 1893 Chicago World's Columbian Exposition. And so everyone kind of revolves around Ferris as the hub of the
Oh
wheel.
wow, that's really clever. Getting
I can
really
see
meta
it.
with it.
I can
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah. Did you guys take note of the music at all? in
It
this
was
movie?
weird. Yeah, I did. So sometimes it was like
the score or the soundtrack.
Well, both.
So I was noticing the soundtrack or the score a lot because it would bounce between like orchestral pieces to
Mhm.
80 synth stuff. And then there was that weird Looney Tunes piece when Rooney was
Yeah.
infiltrating Ferris's house. I mean, it was all over the map. There was not a central core idea with the score in my mind.
But for me, like the pop music choices, the pop music soundtrack stuck out more to me.
It was really unique, I thought. Like the way that they used music for certain scenes was just different. I think Ferris just feels, as a kid, you're like, oh my God, this world of, being a teenager and skipping school and doing all these awesome things. And there is one thing that I didn't notice that I took note of this time. Throughout the movie, everybody is singing, as you just like sing to yourself, Donkashane.
Donkashane, yeah.
I did notice that
Yeah.
appears no less than 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
in the movie.
yeah.
And
Like
then various characters.
Four different characters. But
And
the
it's-
person responsible for the music is Ira Newborn,
Yep.
which frequent John Hughes collaborator. We did talk about him. He did Uncle Buck too. So on the Uncle Buck episode, we talked about him, like films. He did 16 Candles, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Mallrats, Ace Ventura.
Oh
Yeah,
wow!
that's
Oh,
right,
wow.
Ira
I did
Newborn.
do Mallrats.
He's like the comedy guy.
I remember listening to an interview with Kevin Smith when he was talking about like he couldn't believe that he got Ira Newborn to do the music for Mallrats because it's like all of his movies basically were inspired by John Hughes.
I do. Watching this one especially, I was getting big like Kevin Smith vibes.
Yeah,
where I'm
yeah,
like, oh yeah, this
yeah.
is written Kevin Smith style. Or
Oh,
Kevin Smith was writing his stuff Ferris Bueller
Yeah.
style.
I didn't realize. I didn't ever make that connection before. Good call, you guys.
Especially the ancillary like high school characters, the
Yeah,
scenes
yeah.
in the hallway and stuff like that. Big, like I was getting
Yeah,
Kevin
it's-
Smith's rhythm of the dialogue and all.
Yeah.
I love this. I love the soundtrack. I feel like John Hughes was like the '80s soundtrack king, like a big like cool pop music. Or that's the stuff I listen to, like Simple Minds and all that British, like the Smiths and stuff. Yeah,
Well, it seemed like Ferris was a fan too, with the
Say Ferris. Yep, absolutely. Like a ska band or a punk band or something later on.
Mhm.
Well, he had the on his door, he had the British flag, and he had a Simple Minds poster. in his room too, right?
I loved his room. I thought the production design on his room was like a teenage like aspirations.
Well,
and everything's cool. And so many Easter eggs of like the trench coat and the hat and like all the stuff he would use.
And the mannequin, and like the mannequin is wearing the trench coat.
It's awesome.
I also do love when he's waiting for camera and he's on the phone with him and he's drawing a naked lady on his computer. He's like, the Microsoft Paint or whatever.
Yeah, what was that program?
That computer was awesome in there.
Though.
Didn't he? Like the keyboard and the and everything like that.
With the 5 1/4 floppy disk for the sound effects, which I thought was hilarious.
He also kept changing wardrobe. Like every time we would see him, he'd be dressed completely differently in the first 15 minutes or so.
That's right.
Before he leaves the house, you're right. Every outfit is different. This movie, I didn't realize what a hit it was, and I didn't do the math on what it would be in today's dollars, but it was made for $5 million and made over $70 million.
That's a nice return.
That's a win.
It's amazing what you can do with a movie with no special effects.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like good writing and good acting.
Good point. And I really do think it makes a huge difference. I feel like I feel it when they film on location somewhere versus like on a soundstage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Location actually is way more effective than just being on a soundstage. The lighting just is more real.
Do you feel like Chicago is like a character in the movie?
I swear to God, I never made the connection until starting to do this John Hughes season. I adore Chicago, and I think subconsciously it's because I've been watching John Hughes movies my whole life.
I've shamefully never been to Chicago before. I need to.
It's a great city.
Yeah, I know.
It's a great city.
I'm told it's one of like the great American cities.
Yeah.
I haven't done it.
Mm-hmm. Now, don't let Ferris Bueller's Day Off fool you. You could pick one of the things that he does in this movie. I love.
He did get a lot done.
Yeah, they really did. Really, it was a hell of an afternoon.
I tried to track it time wise, and it's impossible.
Oh, this movie plays really fast and loose with time. Like the whole timeline between when he's pulling a fast one over Rooney to get Sloan out of class, and they drive from his house to Cameron's house to get the Ferrari. They have the argument with the Ferrari and drive the Ferrari back to the high school. They've only been standing outside for 2 minutes.
They do the fancy lunch. They do the Cubs game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
that is a lot.
baseball game is like 3.5 hours long.
They must have stayed for like 1 or 2 innings. Just until he got the foul ball, and then they could.
Yeah. I sort of assumed because one school period had happened, and so I was like, well, maybe it's like 10 a.m. when they leave to go to Chicago, which in reality probably would take them an hour to get there. But let's just be
it's 15 minutes.
Generous. Let's be generous that it's 15 minutes. Then they go to the Sears Tower. Then the stock market for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why they were there.
Early lunch.
I did love Cameron doing the Three Stooges hand gestures while the stock people were doing hand gestures for the money.
Yeah. And then the French restaurant. Then the baseball game, then the art museum, which would take all day to do. Then the parade.
Random parade, yeah.
The German Pride Parade.
Yeah. Which was a real parade. That's like that was real footage from a parade.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people, like the construction workers dancing and stuff, they were just dancing to the parade music.
I love that, yeah.
I
crank that twist and shout, and everyone's gonna get into it. I think
for me was a bit of a bridge too far, especially given that they didn't even try to mask the fact that it was clearly Wayne Newton and John Lennon singing, and you could tell that Matthew Broderick was not. He was just lip syncing, but like they presented it like he was the one who was actually singing. He had the microphone and everything.
I never thought about it.
I didn't take that because he sang 2 songs. What was the song before that?
It was Dankeschön.
Oh, Dankeschön, and then Twist and Shout. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I did not ever think that we were supposed to believe he was singing.
I
always assumed that
I never thought that either. But
okay.
You can't fake that.
No.
Did you see where Paul McCartney really didn't like it?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, if we meant for the song to have brass horns, we would have put brass horns on it. And it's like, dude, lighten up.
No shit. I found that I was like ecstatic during that scene. I forgot how fun it was. It made me want to be there. Like it.
Yes.
in the parade.
Yeah,
with
I guess
them.
I'm just a curmudgeon-y old man. I spent that entire sequence going, get on with it.
Oh my god, that was like
I'd
my
be
favorite.
remiss if I noticed how cute all the girls on
German
the float
girls.
were.
Mhm,
Did
they
he dance with
were.
and their little girdles or whatever,
Yeah.
the German gear? Oh my gosh, yeah, they were lookers.
The only thing I was thinking is like, how did they choreograph this so fast?
That's just it's got the Ferris Bueller magic.
Yeah, it
Like,
clearly
everything
does.
he touches turns to gold. You know,
Part of the reason why I thought that it was actually like supposed to be representative of his singing is the accordion player on the back of the float was actually playing along with everything, and so everything was presented like it was diegetic, but it clearly wasn't, and that took me out of it just because I'm I don't know, like I said, a curmudgeon. I just like shouting at clowns.
No, I really wish you could do all of those things in a day. And granted, they had until 6, but there's no way you could fit all that in.
No.
Then Cameron has a freak out, and like they go spend time in the pool. They're all just like lackadaisical with their time, and then finally, the final scene where he has to rush home. He has 5 minutes, and it's like all of a sudden there's this sense of urgency to get home.
Right.
The Ferrari had the keys in the car in the garage.
I know. Yeah.
right? Yeah, the dad was like not that protective of the car.
No, clearly not. Not only was his glass garage unlocked, but he left the keys in the car. I mean, if you didn't want someone to steal this, come on, man.
That's like a fiberglass car. Like it's not a real car.
Well, yeah, it was a real car.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. I got caught up this time of watching it. I was like, wait a second, Jeannie and Ferris are both seniors, but they're not meant to be twins.
No.
Right? Have we figured that out?
I think originally they were twins. But what we have is Jeannie's a junior.
Oh.
She's younger? I thought for sure she was older than him.
I know which you're right, because why does she have a car and she's younger?
She got a car in there's no way they would give the younger kid a car.
Same note.
And not
same
the older
note.
one.
And they have a ton of money, clearly. Like why?
Oh yeah.
Like
jeez.
I thought for sure she was maybe like an Irish twin. Either they could have been born within the same year, or that he got bumped up a grade, or she got held back a grade, or something happened.
Yeah.
I never assumed that she could have been younger than him.
Well, she's definitely not older, and he's a senior.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
I noticed she was never in class either.
I just chalked it up to her having minimum day.
She was skipping class and doing this and that, and she's mad at him for skipping class.
Charlie Sheen literally says, you could skip too. And I was like, she is. She did.
She just left. Yeah. She left in the middle of the day to go home. Charlie Sheen was dropping like some serious
real
philosophic like wisdom on her.
He was,
and
that's
had a lot of that.
You're good point. And we see that pay off because she does come to Ferris's rescue at the end, which I had kind of forgotten about. I totally forgot that the principal is still there somehow. Okay, you guys, the principal breaks into this kid's home, and then his car gets towed. He leaves his wallet there. The dog attacks, and then Ferris is trying to get in. I totally forgot that he looks for the key under the mat, and then he gets caught. But then,
can we talk? He assaulted the Bueller family dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it, like,
I never thought of that before. No, I thought he like smashed the vase on the dog's head.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think so. I think when I was little, I thought it was like the plants were some sort of like. But I think he hit the dog over the head with it.
I buy it. That makes a hell of a lot more sense.
So messed up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was I was making a list as I watched some of my favorite moments from the movie. And when the dude delivered the flowers, like Louis Anderson brought the flowers around, and he like does the little honk, like ba 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 ba, and principal's like
flicks him off twice.
That was such a relatable moment. I was like, that's easily like a top laugh out loud moment for the movie.
I forgot about the slutty nurseogram.
Oh yeah, that was so out of left field.
Was that a full on like hooker that they sent over?
I think so, because she says something about Pluck. I'm the nurse who likes to.
And then the door closes.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Who said that? That's crazy. That's crazy.
But speaking of Jeannie, though, this is, I think, a hole because she knew from the get-go that he was faking because he winks at her and everything. Like, she knows this before she even goes to school. So why is she so intent on trying to catch him in the act?
So I was thinking about this. It is what Charlie Sheen was saying, that this is not really about Ferris. It's about her. She wants the attention that he gets. And if she just tattles on him in that moment in the morning, she's going to come across as the bad guy. But
she wants him to get caught.
If she catches him in the act, then he becomes the bad guy. Right. So it's all what Charlie Sheen was saying, is that this is just her being angry at herself that she's not willing to take the risks that he's willing to take.
Yeah.
Yeah, that tracks. That makes sense.
And Charlie Sheen had that wisdom of like, you should be less concerned about what your brother's doing.
Yeah.
And more like, why are you so worried about what he's doing? Why don't you just do what you want to do?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's like spot on, like wisdom that I don't think a teenager has the perspective on.
Really good point. Wow, Charlie Sheen had a bigger impact in this movie than I had thought.
I think he turned her life around.
Right, exactly.
In the end, he's like, why do I care if Ferris is skipping school or not?
Yeah.
Why does she tell him that her name is Jean, but a lot of guys call her Shauna?
That made no sense to me.
I wonder. The only thing I could track up, because she is just like all of a sudden smitten with this kid. And I think she's just trying to come off cool.
I don't know, but they had that little song that was playing, the doo-wop song that was like saying Jeannie and Shauna. And I didn't know if that was a real song or something they wrote for the movie.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that just went over my head.
I don't know why anyone would call you Shauna.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it was pretty clear that she had very much wanted his
She
body
fell in love
back.
with Charlie Sheen pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. The bad boy. I mean, come on. And Charlie Sheen was very good looking back in the day. Like,
he's a handsome dude for sure. Yeah.
At the time. Also, when we come home, there were several things. I haven't seen this as many times as you guys probably, that I totally forgot about when the parents come home. The living room or the entryway or whatever is just packed full of flower deliveries.
And who was putting them inside?
That was one of the running jokes of the movie. No, that was one of the running jokes of the movie that I liked so much, is the whole community.
Yeah, rallying around Ferris.
Like when the mom was at the police station and she's like, tell Ferris all the guys at the station are pulling for him and all that. And like the English department, like sent the flowers and everything else. And what was she on the phone with the 911 operator? And they're like, I'm thank you very much for hoping that my brother's feeling better. But can you please send police? I loved all that.
Well,
it was so good.
The Save Ferris on the
Save Ferris
on the water tower,
which I read that remained on the water tower for like years afterwards. Whatever little town they filmed in, like never repainted it, so it was just there for a while.
Money. Yeah, I mean, like the studio paid to put it up there. They're not going to pay to take it down.
Good point. He was in the Chicago Sun-Times that his dad was reading in the taxi cab.
Right. Made the newspaper.
When did that get written?
Like, what edition of the paper is that? Like a midday printing?
Oh my God. Kenny Ortega choreographed the dancing. And if that name sounds familiar, he also choreographed for Dirty Dancing with Jennifer Grey.
Like the scene with the dancers on the stairs or whatever?
On the float and stuff, I think. But I think there was more dancing originally, but the scene where he like jumps from the trampoline, he like hurt himself. So he actually had an injury that prevented him from doing a lot of the dancing that they had choreographed. So there was supposed to be more dancing from Matthew, I guess.
Well, as someone who hates choreographed dance, thank you, Matthew Broderick, for getting injured.
Dude, Ferris's swagger was so off the charts in this movie. Like when he's talking to the girl on the phone and all that, and then like when he's running through the yard and he comes back to talk to like, hey, I'm the sunbather or whatever. I mean, come on.
I still laugh every time. I still laugh.
It's so good. Yeah. Not the best boyfriend movie.
No. But we already.
Yeah, he like proposes. It's like I guess he's just a guy. A guy is a guy, I guess. But he's like trying to lock Sloane down. And she's in high school.
She's like 17. Yeah.
So this is where I have to pause and remind myself when the movie was made, and but it's just like marriage and children is like the biggest tool that narcissists and sociopaths have in their tool shed to control people who they want to keep in their lives.
Of course.
I did feel like it was a strangely manipulative thing for him to do.
But but the thing that I appreciate about Sloane is I always got the sense, in this scene in particular showed it, that she knew what Ferris was and could not be manipulated by him. And she was going along with it because she was having a good time.
See, that's the thing.
But he had no actual control over her. She was actually in control of the situation the whole time.
Yeah, good
That's
point.
always the vibes I got.
I want to get your perspective, Katie, because I also felt like maybe Katie is not, she likes Ferris as a high school boyfriend, but she doesn't really see a long-term future with him.
Right. Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like, I do see him growing up to be a narcissist. I do.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's probably he's probably CEO of some company.
Yeah.
And like on his fourth marriage.
Yeah.
Nobody ever tells him no.
Nobody ever tells him no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cause he grew up kind of having although he wants a car.
Yeah. That's like the one thing he doesn't get.
I do like that as well, too. Like the running gag of when he was making fun of Cameron's car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he's like, my car's not a piece of shit. He's like, it is a piece of shit. He's like, but I don't even have a piece of shit. I have to envy yours.
Which I thought was a great line.
It is. It is what, speaking of cars, I didn't notice this ever until I specifically paid attention because I read it. The license plates on all the cars. It was that was like another Easter egg throughout the movie.
Nervous with the license plate on the Ferrari.
But it was like John Hughes references. Or
oh, really? Okay.
So
Nervous makes sense for the camera, like for the Ferrari, but the other ones, there was VCTN on Katie's car for vacation. Jeannie's was TBC, The Breakfast Club. Mm-hmm. Tom's was MMOM, Mr. Mom. Rooney's was 4FBDO, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah, and then Cameron's dad's was Nervous. Yeah.
Every time I watch this movie, I pick up on new like little details that are in it. Like they were running wild with the production design on the movie, and I love it.
Yeah, I noticed all of the vanity plates, but Nervous was the only one I picked up on.
Yeah.
But I knew that they all had some meaning, but I didn't know what it was. So John Hughes movies, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Nervous was showcased way more. God, that was a sweet car. I loved the Garage Guys so much.
Oh yeah, they were
those
great.
On my list of like favorite characters. Megan, like I love that dude. The one guy was in Platoon, the main the main dude. But I like when he's like, "Do you speak English?" And it's like,
"What country?
What country do you think this is?" Then when he was trying to get Cameron out of the car, he's like, "Sir." He's like, "Oh, you guys have nothing to worry about."
Oh my god!
It's so funny.
Every line that he had was a riot.
That dude was wild. Yeah. I love when they're flying in the air and like you got the Star Wars music.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like some of the music that they licensed. I mean, John Williams rarely licenses his music out. So the fact that he licensed the Star Wars theme was unbelievable.
I feel like that must have been expensive.
Yeah, same with the Beatles. The Beatles at this point in time were notoriously not willing to license their stuff out. So the fact that they got Twist and Shout,
but Twist and Shout, they didn't write Twist and Shout, so it might have been cheaper.
Yeah,
Twist and Shout was like an older,
but there was a ton
song.
of they reused you're right. We talked about it on the Mr. Mom episode too, because it was also made for $5 million and made a ton of money. And in Mr. Mom, they had like the Jaws music, the Rocky music, tons of Young and the Restless episodes. I was noticing very similar. I'm like, was it just like way cheaper to license music back in the day?
Maybe.
Because for $5 million.
Yeah.
And,
that's crazy. Yeah, because you need now, like if you want to license a Beatles song, it might cost you $5 million.
The whole,
right.
Mm. I love the whole bit in the museum with that. Like it was a cover version of a Smith song.
Yeah.
It's so good, but it was sort of separate from the rest of the movie, like a little short film in itself. But it was like there was something deep and artistic about it. And like
that whole scene is
Cameron was like having some sort of a moment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I loved all that.
It's iconic. I mean, that scene has been spoofed in TV shows and cartoons and other movies. I mean, it is one of the most iconic scenes of any movie in the 80s, in my opinion.
That and the garage, the Ferrari garage, you can just show somebody the picture of that garage.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I would like to live in that garage. I mean, it was so like, God, these people
Cameron's
have money.
dad's garage?
Yeah, Cameron's
Yes.
dad's garage.
No, yeah.
Where the Ferrari is. Oh,
That was a weird house, wasn't it? It was like in the middle of the wood, like
Right.
and
It
like
was
some very
up on
mid-century
this-
modern house.
Yeah. Like
That's the other iconic standout moment is just watching that car sail out the window, and you're like, "Holy shit!" There's no coming back from this. I love that.
yeah, it was, I don't know. I still kind of have an anxious feeling watching that scene because I'm like, oh, what a shit way to end such an epic day. You're going to be in so much trouble, you know?
But that prompted Cameron's like sort of coming down to like, no, I need to like stand up for myself,
Yeah.
and have a talk with my dad about not
Yeah.
pushing me around anymore.
That's a
I
good
don't know what
point.
was going to happen to him. It sounded pretty bad.
But, you know, I mean,
I loved the Cameron. Were you more like of a Cameron or a Ferris when you were?
well, growing up, I was Ferris all the way. I didn't understand Cameron
really?
at
I was a
all.
Cameron.
Oh, okay.
for sure.
Now, as an adult, I'm like, well, he's the only character in the whole movie that had an actual arc. Who
Yeah.
changed in any capacity.
Very good point. Yeah. He was so cute and I was like watching it like, there's no way you're 29. He looked 18.
Yeah, he looked really young.
I love that bit that he was doing when he was talking to Rooney early in the movie.
Mhm.
He's
His
like,
suspenders.
"Pardon my French, but you're an asshole. An asshole. Call me sir. God damn it." That shit is so funny to
Yeah.
me. Apparently they said that was like something that some inside joke with Broderick and Rock, like it was, they were doing an impression of the director they worked with on Broadway.
Oh, really?
Yes, you're
Remember?
right. Yep.
Call
yep.
me sir. God damn it. Oh,
an
that's
inside
so
joke.
good.
Well, the physical comedy that Rooney and Grace had during that whole sequence was just hysterical. Passing the phone
Running
back and
around.
forth. Yeah.
Calm, Rooney, calm down.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's
That
so
whole,
good.
That whole sequence was funny.
Oh my god.
So I'm
What
so
about the
glad-
closing credits?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Oh,
the whole like action
dude, the-
continues through the credits.
Yeah.
I
I
thought we hadn't really seen that before.
No.
Well-
That's the first time I can remember that.
because I feel like I probably always saw this on like TBS or TNT or something, and they probably skipped past that to get to whatever the next movie was.
Uh-huh.
I totally forgot that bus scene
The whole
and
thing, like
the post-credit scene when Ferris
yeah,
was
those
like,
credits are so good. It's like you're still here. What are you doing
It's
here?
just- it's over.
The movie's over.
Yeah.
"Go home."
It's so good.
I love
Yeah.
it. There's been a lot of post-credit scenes. Did you guys remember the one in The Great Outdoors? There's a raccoon post-credit scene.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Oh,
That's with John Candy.
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd, thank you. Yeah, I was trying to say
Pardon
Eugene
me.
Levy.
Was that another John Hughes? or
Yeah,
was it-
just recently
It
covered
was?
it. Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm. Yeah.
that's
The
so
Great
good.
Outdoors.
He
Yeah.
loved Jack Candy.
John
Oh, yeah.
Candy.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
The other one that I loved is Wayne's World, which is they're talking, they're reading the name of the credits,
Yeah.
and then it comes to the end. It's like, oh, that's the end of the credits. So what are we going to do here? Are they just going to fade to black over top of us? And then it starts fading back like, oh, yep, there it goes.
I
There
haven't
was-
seen Wayne's World.
There was a
forever.
Marvel post credits. It was the one of Captain America where he's like speaking to the kids and he's like, you know, sometimes you wait for a really long time for something and it's disappointing.
I don't remember.
He's
that
like,
at all.
well, all right, goodbye, everybody. I was like, oh, that was what the Ferris Bueller felt like.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? The movie's over. Just leave. Go home.
Well, then of course Deadpool famously spoofed that at the end of the first or second movie.
Oh, he did the Ferris Bueller
Yeah.
ending, didn't he? In the
Mhm.
robe and everything.
Oh, really?
In one of the Deadpool movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like with the maybe with the towel on his
Yeah.
head.
Well, he was still in costume, but he was like everything else was like. I think they replicated the hallway exactly the same.
Yes,
he was
I
wearing the
love
exact
it.
same robe.
The wallpaper and
Yeah.
everything. Now, did you guys ever? I always had long hair, so this wouldn't work. But did you guys ever try and do the mohawk in the shower, like
No.
like Ferris?
I
when
don't
you
think I
were
ever
growing
had
up?
hair that was the length that you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I never did. But I mean, I did have hair at that age. But
You weren't always.
yeah,
You weren't always.
But no, I never. It never occurred to me to do that.
You just it never came
It
out.
never came.
You
out.
were born
Yeah.
this way.
Yeah, that's it.
What do you guys think about a potential sequel? Are you glad we
hope
don't
not.
have one? Yeah,
no.
yeah.
We don't. I'm so over like the whole legacy
Mhm.
sequel
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I mean, when I heard that they were doing a second Spinal Tap, my heart died a little bit.
I mean, I
I-
hope it could be good, but I don't know. They keep wanting to do the twins
yeah,
sequel with Eddie,
Eddie
Murphy,
Murphy.
for the triplets. That Beverly Hills Cop movie that came out was like whatever. But you don't. no one wants this. I guess it's just a payday for everyone.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I don't. I don't.
Well,
I hope
this
it never
one-
happens for Ferris Bueller.
I hope not. Well, they'll probably remake it. That's really more like kids. I don't know if a bunch of 20 somethings even know about like these movies that we hold so dear.
Yeah.
So
True.
that's
I
like
guess
the
it depends on if your
remakes.
parents raised you right.
Yeah, I know.
Did they
I
make
know.
you watch these movies?
It is. It's disheartening. Who was I talking to recently? I think I was guesting on another show, and this guy, like our age, was talking with some not even that young, like 30-year-olds maybe, who hadn't seen Dirty Dancing. I'm like, what? How's this possible? But no, I didn't read about a potential remake or sequel for Ferris Bueller now, but there was, I guess, originally one planned where Ferris is in college, and I'm so glad that they didn't.
Now it would need to almost be like Matthew Broderick's kid.
Oh, for sure.
Like Ferris Bueller's kid, or something like that.
Well, I don't even know what the movie could be. I mean, because as we've been discussing, so much of the whole premise of the movie is completely unacceptable in today's culture.
Good point.
Right.
Phone calls,
Yeah.
all the call tricks, like a lot of tricks via calling.
Right. And
it wouldn't work.
well, I mean, and not just that, but like the behavioral stuff. Like when Cameron, in his theoretical catatonic state, was actually watching Sloane change, and she was totally okay with it. She was like, "Oh, you goof," like that kind of thing would never be acceptable. And again, like the whole.
Do you speak English? Like
right.
Things like that.
There's so many strange aspects that were okay in the 80s that would not be okay now, and the idea of a kid skipping school and it being a good thing, I feel, is even almost culturally not okay anymore.
I'm not a parent, but as I witness, parents are very much more hands-on with their children's school stuff.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't be unaware that he skipped school 9 times.
Yeah. I mean, it was believable for me because I was a latchkey kid, right? My parents would
80s,
until I was a little bit older, and then when I got into high school, right, I was just a home alone by myself, right? My mother, for a period of time, she quit her job and she stayed home to take care of my sister and me. But then when I got into high school, then she went and she started going back and doing work again. And so I would walk home from school. I'd make myself like an early dinner. I'd do my own homework, So I was a straight up latchkey kid in high school.
80s kids with 2 working parents, I probably was a whole different world, like a pre-cell phone world.
Mm-hmm.
Where you could, what was I watching recently? I watched Big recently, Tom Hanks, Big.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like, maybe not his character, but it's like his buddy character just goes off into New York City on his own one day with the parents are like, just be home by 4.
Right.
You can go off into Manhattan on your own. And that was
Never found that
no
unbelievable.
cell phone, no way to contact them. Yeah, that's crazy stuff.
No, I know. I mean, like, it's just like that, and the fact that I don't know a kid who doesn't have Find My iPhone turned on.
Oh yeah,
right, and they're just constantly linked to their parents at every second of every day. I don't even know how you would make the movie.
It would,
No, you can track your kid. Like, I think you can track where they are. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like even something like Home Alone, where it's like a kid gets left home alone by accident.
Oh my God, never
anymore, right?
Yeah. Never.
Yeah, I don't. I hate remaking like movies that are perfect.
Yeah,
like if you want to remake a movie that you could improve on.
Like, this was a good idea,
or re-release the original if you want to cash in on the idea again.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's my feelings. Yeah, they'll remake everything eventually.
But again, it's the exceptions to the rule. There are some I didn't even know, and this is me being the new generation that didn't know, like Cape Fear, for example. I did not know that was a remake.
The remake was much better than the original.
It was, yeah. That's why I think you take a movie that I feel like Cape Fear probably was well known.
Yeah.
But you can take a movie that was like flawed the first time and try to make a better version of it.
For me, the best example, and this is partially a cultural thing, I thought The Lady Killers, the Coen Brothers remake, was much better than the Peter Sellers original.
I never saw the OG.
So the original was it was a British crime comedy. Alec Guinness and Peter Sellers and a bunch of other British acting luminaries. And it was just, it was a bunch of talented, famous actors getting together and making a silly movie. And it was good, but the American version brought a lot more of an American style to it, and I thought it worked a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot who was in that again.
Clooney, right? That's all I know.
It was J.K. Simmons. It was Matthew Fox.
Was it not Clooney?
It was Tom Hanks.
Oh, Tom Hanks.
Yeah, and who else? It was just a
one of the
who's-
Wayans.
who's- Yeah. It was like, it wasn't Jamie Foxx. It was one of the Wayans brothers. That's right. But yeah, it was like a cavalcade of
Coen
celebrities.
Brothers movie.
Yeah, it was Coen Brothers movie, and I thought it was way better than the original.
What about like the Ocean's 11 remake? The
remake is way better than
amazing.
the original. Yeah,
I never saw the original.
Me neither. The old like Sinatra.
Yeah,
movie.
it's a Rat Pack movie.
Yeah,
It's got all
okay.
the guys in it.
Yeah, but like
it's
the
a-
one they remade was like a
Yeah.
perfect movie.
Yeah.
So there are exceptions, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I just hold a lot of these like 80s movies
They're
so
sacred.
dear. Yeah, like The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Please don't. We don't.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they were recently talking about asking one of the people behind Back to the Future, like, about a sequel or a remake, and I feel like the dude told the reporter to go fuck yourself, or like go fuck yourself, and you can quote me, or something like that. It was like, it's never going to happen. We
That's
will not let
great.
it happen.
That's good to hear.
That's
Yes,
amazing.
like let something perfect be perfect.
Yeah.
I thought you guys might find a couple pieces of casting trivia funny before we head out.
Okay.
So again, because it's very incestuous, the actors in these movies. Cameron, the role of Cameron was originally offered to Emilio Estevez, who turned it down. And Alan Ruck
Another guy
says,
he was like Rat Packer.
yeah, it would be funny because then Charlie Sheen's in it too. Anyway, Alan Ruck says that every time I see Emilio, I want to kiss him. Thank you.
Did Alan Ruck not have like the longest neck in the world?
Yeah, I
He
feel
did
like
have
he
a-
does.
It was
was
just
like
like
a
a
tall-
thing that you're watching. You're like, wow, that's a long neck. That's a prodigious neck.
Prodigious. Also, okay, so for Cameron, John Candy, I guess, auditioned for the role of Cameron.
No, that couldn't be.
That would be a weird one. That'd be a weird.
Trying to play a high schooler?
I mean, granted,
Alan
Alan Ruck was 29.
Alan Ruck was 29.
Yeah,
John Candy was probably maybe close to that age, maybe a touch older, but obviously the producers turned him down because he was clearly too old. But that would have been a very
You're 4.
Yeah.
Sir, you're 35.
Oh my God. And then for Ed Rooney, the principal from The Breakfast Club, Paul Gleason, was considered.
Would he have been the same character?
It's too similar. It's literally.
Is it meant to be the same
Yeah.
high school where are all these stories meant to be happening in the same high
I don't
school?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's the same town, I know.
Shermer
Oh.
High.
There was like a Go Shermer billboard, like banner on the wall on the hall in this movie.
the hallway scenes were the same hall. Like it's the same filming location as Breakfast Club hallway scenes too.
Oh,
And like the police officers say Shermer police or sheriff or whatever. Like it is.
okay.
Yeah. Also, Tom Skerritt was considered. I really, even though Jeffrey Jones, I don't know. I like him for Rooney. I think he's a good.
I think he's a better comedy actor than either of the
He
other
does
two
great in this
people.
because you never get tired of seeing him get his comeuppance.
good
And
point.
I feel like that speaks to how well he played the part.
Yeah.
Like when he's running after the little tow truck and he gets his keys stuck in the door and then it glides off without his keys. You're just like, or when his foot goes in
Yeah.
the mud, all that is just working because I feel like you hate him so much.
Good point. Good point. And he's like such a unique looking person too. So Ferris Bueller, it was a blast revisiting it. Even though when I was a kid, I just went with it more. And now I'm like, it's impossible to do all those things in Chicago. So it's super unrealistic. However, it was so fun. And I would highly recommend, Kevin, you have to do a Ferris Bueller's Day Off tour when you go to Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to go to the museum for sure because all the Picassos and stuff. Yeah, it looked amazing.
The museum's awesome. Also, the architecture in Chicago is epic. You have to do an architecture tour on the river.
Okay.
It's
How many days do I need in Chicago?
Oh,
I do
like
a long weekend
month.
at least.
but
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
but yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me to talk about Ferris.
Thank you.
Good pick. Speaking of which, do you guys have any closing thoughts on this fun movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, in 1986?
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic, despite some of the stuff the baggage that comes with age. I watched this movie constantly when I was a kid. And like I said, when I watched it again, I remember literally every scene in the entire movie. There was not a part of the movie where I'm like, oh, wait, I don't remember that being in here.
Yeah, I feel like they don't make them like this anymore.
Yeah.
Great movie. I would recommend it to anyone who
Anybody.
hasn't seen it. You got to watch it. I mean, it's so good.
But go in without the baggage of 21st century culture, right?
Because it's one of those, just kick your feet back and enjoy the ride. Don't worry about it, how unrealistic it is. It's meant to be that way, I think.
Keep it as superficial as possible. Don't look for subtext because there really isn't any.
It's like it's the teenage fantasy.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great point. Remind us what's next on 6 Degrees.
So we're finishing up Lionheart now. And then
we hope to have you on. You can hear more of Katie's thoughts on Dolph Lundgren's abs, his traps and his pecs and everything like that.
I can't even wait.
Years of Cliffhanger coming soon.
Yep.
Yeah. Check out Showdown in Little Tokyo if you haven't seen it. It's got to be streaming. And get yourself prepped for
acclimated.
6 Degrees.
That's right.
With Katie.
Yeah, you guys. And if you enjoyed this episode of Retromade, please let me know. Email me, comment on YouTube, Facebook, and I would really appreciate, hint, 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 a review. That's the best way that you can let me know that you liked the show. Share with your friends. And until next time, be kind, rewind.